Hello fellow YouTubers, welcome to this special video in which I will count down my top 10 favorite wrestlers. Recently I've been putting up a lot of negativity on YouTube, especially on this channel, because I was so angry about Dean Ambrose winning the title. So I was complaining about Dean Ambrose winning the title, I was complaining about Money in the Bank. I figured I'd put up a video counting down my top 10 favorite wrestlers. So I'm just going to jump right in on this. Number 10 I have John Morrison. This was a guy who at first I wasn't really behind when he was in Eminem. I really got into John Morrison at first when he was feuding with CM Punk, because this was a really good feud. I don't really remember much of it, but I remember enjoying it. I remember being invested in the ECW brand because of it. I also remember his teaming up with The Miz, but, you know, John Morrison, he was athletic, he could go in the ring, he could talk really well, he was the full package. You know, whenever they needed to boost him, they just said, you know, oh look, he can do parkour, and they showed him running a little bit, and you know, he was over again. John Morrison, great competitor, great theme music. For number 9, I have Randy Orton. You know, talk about great theme music. Randy Orton always had the best theme music. Back when he was with Evolution, when he broke off from Evolution, when he was when he started hearing voices. Orton was really good. I remember when I first started watching wrestling, back like 2002, 2003, you know, Orton was starting to get that push, and, you know, he made the IC title mean something. You know, when he won the title, he was the youngest world champion of all time. That was really cool. You know, granted, I think over the years, Orton's been kind of overutilized, if that makes sense. I mean, like with Cena, we always complain about him fighting Orton all the time. With Orton, you know, you got Cena, you got Sheamus. You have a whole laundry list of people that Orton has fought way too much. And, you know, he has a tendency to be a little sloppy, but when he's on, Orton is on. And, you know, I'll never say Cena's a bad wrestler, but I definitely think Orton is a way better wrestler than Cena. And, you know, Orton, especially with the RKO out of nowhere memes, he's gotten really over. He's not even there and he's still over. Orton was one of the first heels that I liked, back when he had his really long reign in like 07 to 08. For number 8, I have Chris Jericho. This was also kind of around the same time when I got into Jericho. You figure when I started watching, you know, Jericho was really a mid-card guy. And it wasn't until, you know, he came back with the short hair, the sparkling jacket, that things really picked up. It was around this time that really got behind Jericho personally. His feud with Shawn Michaels, oh god. Feud with Shawn Michaels, oh god. You know, feud of, you know, the last like 5 years at that point. Really great feud. Jericho plays heel so well. I mean, so many promos that Jericho's done over the years that really stick out. He's just complete package, really. You know, kind of recently people complain that he comes back and loses all the time. But he's not doing that this time. He's winning a lot of matches. I mean, even the time he came back to put over Bray Wyatt, he said he lost 3 matches in that entire time. Jericho, really great wrestler, really good promo guy, just complete package. Seth Rollins is my number 7. This should go without saying, but it's Seth freaking Rollins. You know, he can cut a mean promo now. He's really, really good, unique in the ring. You know, he can do all sorts of crazy things. And I think part of this is just that right now he is, without a doubt, my favorite guy on the roster. You know, Seth Rollins comes out, you know he's going to say something impactful, you know he's going to be a heel with whatever he says, even though the crowd wants to cheer him. Regardless, Seth Rollins, really great in the ring, really getting good on the mic, a lot of really cool moves, exciting to watch. I mean, when I think back to SummerSlam last year, really the only match that sticks out in my head is him and Cena. Because Seth Rollins was getting over that well. Seth Rollins is definitely, you know, the face of the company. He should be. Especially after the Roman Reigns suspension, but regardless. For number 6, I have The Miz. And this is where I know people are going to start disagreeing with me. But there was like a year where the Raw show was just so bad. And it was. I mean, you can't even argue that, guys. It was so bad. You know, Cena was winning the belt over and over again. He buried the Nexus. We had guest hosts every week. I can barely think of positives for that time period. But the one positive is without a doubt The Miz. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, he's sloppy in the ring, but he's not. Okay, good wrestlers say he's decent in the ring. He isn't a Seth Rollins, but, he can cut a mean promo. He kept me in wrestling. Because, for real, that year, I was just so uninterested. The one thing I would watch for, realistically, was The Miz. To see what he would do. The Miz is the only guy on the roster right now who can do heel correctly. Because every other heel on the roster, from Kevin Owens to Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, I'm trying to think of other heels on the roster, but they all get cheered. The Miz can come out at any point and get booed. Granted, I will say he has flaws. He isn't that spectacular in the ring. I've heard he's not really good at basing for when people jump. I've also, realized he can't be a face. He just can't. But regardless, a lot of people have been elevated by working with The Miz. I mean, ask Daniel Bryan, ask Alex Riley, ask John Morrison. The Miz. My number 5, I have CM Punk. This should go without saying. I feel like CM Punk at this point should be in everybody's top 25-ish. What is there to say about this guy? He had a really good feud with Jeff Hardy. I mean, we all remember that. Him and Cena had some amazing chemistry, could put on good matches, unique matches every time in the ring. The only 5-star match of the last, decade and a half in the WWE is CM Punk, John Cena. Realistically, CM Punk is the reason I started watching again. Because I had stopped for a good year and a half. It was a long time. The only reason I started watching again was when CM Punk left. And I know that makes no sense, but I was curious. I was like, well, why did he leave? And, all the new guys, revitalized my interest. But, CM Punk has really great promos. He's had really good feuds, put on really good matches. What can you even argue against this guy with? We're judging straight on character. CM Punk, great character. The straight edge gimmick, lived it. It was great. Straight edge savior, bam. That was a great faction, great gimmick. When he became the voice for the voiceless, he did it again. 2 gimmicks that everybody loved. But regardless, my number 4, I have Edge. Number 4 and number 5 are really close together, actually. Edge, he carried SmackDown for me for a long time. There was this point where I didn't like Edge, and then there was, the Edge Mick Foley, no disqualification or hard, I don't remember what they called it. But regardless, they had a match, great match, everybody loves it. Edge, he was the complete package. And, when you look at the modern WWE and you go, what is missing? A lot of times I think Edge. Because, he is gone. And it's something that they haven't been able to replace, really. Because how can you? There is only one Edge. Edge, a lot of great matches, a lot of great promos, really good at getting heat. Just all around. My top 3, this has been my top 3 for, God, like a decade now. And I don't think it'll change. The only way it could really change is if either The Miz or Seth Rollins, really spike up. And I don't think that's happening anytime soon. But my number 3, I have Shawn Michaels. And realistically, number 2 and number 3 could probably go either way. I usually pick Shawn Michaels for number 3. And that's because Shawn was really good in the ring. I mean, really good in the ring. And I don't think anybody in their right mind will argue that. Okay? You could put on a classic match with just about anybody, really. And, when you look at the body of work, there are a lot of really good promos, a lot of good matches. Realistically, a lot of good feuds, too. I mean, his feud with Chris Jericho, his feud with Triple H. He's had good feuds. His feud with Vince McMahon in 2006, while I know a lot of people don't like it, I know, I have to be different. But regardless, who doesn't love Shawn Michaels? Number 2 is definitely Triple H. And realistically, Triple H is one of the first people that got me into wrestling. Evolution was a really cool heel stable. And Triple H has this really good tendency to put on good matches with anybody. And I know you're all gonna go, oh no, Triple H isn't good. But he is. He's really good in the ring. When I think, picking a body part apart, I think Triple H. When I think, really nasty heel promo, I think Triple H. When I think face promo, I think DX. I think Triple H. When I think, classic match, I think Triple H. He's really that good. And one of the things that irritates me most about wrestling is that Bret Hart said Triple H wasn't in his top 1,000 wrestlers. And I always sit there and go, really, Bret? Really? Because even though I know I'm biased, Triple H is top 15. Worst. Worst case scenario, he's top 15. Come on, Bret. We get you're mad at Trips, but Triple H is really good at just about anything you can ask him to do. I know people say, oh, he buried so many guys, but he also put a lot of guys over big. I mean, when Chris Benoit beat him, big moment. He lost to Chris Benoit again. He did the same thing with Batista. He did the same thing with Randy Orton, with John Cena. He puts these people over. It's just he doesn't do it often. He even tapped out to Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Triple H. One of the best all time. And my number one, before I get to number one, let me give some honorable mentions. For them, I have Cody Rhodes. Really great guy. Loved him since he debuted. Kind of sad he's gone now. Stardust was kind of dumb, but Cody Rhodes, good hand. Should have been world champion at some point. Maybe not with one world title, but now that we're up in two, this would have been his time. I also have Rusev. I know I'm going to get some flack for the next two honorable mentions, but Rusev is really good in the ring. Honestly, at this point, he is one of the reasons to watch Raw. Between him and Lana and the stupid things he says, his really good matches, he makes it happen. He does. And for my final honorable mention, don't tune out of the video, but it's Roman Reigns. I get why people would argue against me on this one. I really do. But when I was thinking honorable mentions and, all-time great superstars, in my opinion, I really can't turn away from a Roman Reigns match. Just saying. His promos might not be that good, but, they don't have to be. Regardless, my number one is The Undertaker. Undertaker is the reason I got into wrestling. I remember one of the first matches I saw, or at least that I remember, was Undertaker versus, I can't remember who that it was. I think it was at WrestleMania 19. He was taking on Big Show and A-Train. I always think it was a SummerSlam, but I've never been able to find the match, so I'm guessing it's this match at WrestleMania 19. But Taker was this guy. I know he was American Badass at this point. People don't like that gimmick, but I liked it. It was my first real taste of wrestling, and he was that guy for me. He was the guy who got me into the business. I'm sitting there going, wow, this guy's really cool. Look at these cool things he does. Check out these promos, this awesome gimmick. But Taker, he had good feuds with everybody. He had good matches with everybody. Realistically, I don't think anybody could argue against Taker being one of the best of all time. But regardless, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, share, subscribe. Please do comment with your top 10. If you don't feel like writing a top 10, because top 10 is a lot, comment with top 5. I'll read your comments. Why not? But anyway, I'm done. Peace out, home skillets.